Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the iHeart Radio Network, the number one network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the number one sports show in the universe, according to Big C and the good old boys down south. We want to tell you bienvenidos to all of our friends in Latin America, also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France. And Big C, we love Canada, and I think Canada's missing a guy by the name of Subban down with them good old boys in Nashville, but there's still, Big C, no one I love more than you good old boys down south in the land of the free, in the home of the brave. Big C, how's it going for all you good old boys? Yeah.
Keeps everything green like the money in your pocket that you've been winning in Las Vegas.
I'll tell you. Hey, I see why Charles Barkley owes so many people in Las Vegas. Some people say you look like Charles Barkley. I say, I don't look like Charles Barkley. I'm about 200 pounds lighter than Charles Barkley, but we all shaved. All black men look alike when we have shaved heads, Big C, so I'll take that. But no, I don't owe his debts. Sometimes walking around Vegas, people say, you got the money? I say, what money? They say, oh, he's not Charles. I just want to make sure, be careful when you're doing that. And speaking of being careful, today's segment sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. Big C, have you noticed the NBA opens up with Cadillac? I'm not saying they're copying our style, Big C, but Cadillac's at the NBA Finals. Your thoughts, Big C? Oh, you've been hearing that a lot, huh?
Every time I hear it, I'm seeing Charlton flash across the screen back in the day. They're bringing up all these clips. But, it's a uniform thing, Charlton, but, it's great to be appreciated in the way that ESPN and ABC and the NBA is representing you back in the day.
Yeah, well, back in the day, it reminds me of a lot of times when, we talk about so many things happening. We have the NHL tipping off. And, give you props because you said the good old boys from Nashville would win. I guess they had a special breed of moonshine they were mixing up down there, some elixir. So them good old boys got that done. But also, one of the best commercials that I've seen is Dr. J, when he's getting dressed. They show him, I think he just has some undergarments on, and he's putting on his suit the same way most men get dressed in the morning, Big C. Well, he talks about being in the finals. And at the end of it, after he puts on his tie and does the bow tie, he slides this championship ring on his finger. And I thought that was so poignant. I know you have championship rings. Talk about what that means to all the people that they want to do it for more money. They want to jockey for a different team. But when Dr. J got dressed, he wasn't finished until he put that championship ring on his finger. Big C, your thoughts?
Yeah. He won the World Series.
Yeah.
That World Series means more to him. And I know we're talking about Dr. King, sports resonates throughout championships. But that World Series rings mean more than any no-hitter or perfect game he could ever throw in his career. Because when you do an incident like that, it's just an individual feat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We all have all these individual accolades, MVPs, and outstanding player or whatever we wanted to have. But the thing that resonates the most is that you win a championship ring and you do that as a unit.
Yeah.
And by doing that as a unit, you have a brotherhood. You have that something forever.
Yeah.
That you can go back and talk to a dozen people about or more.
Yeah.
That you have something commonality. And, talking about baseball, you think about Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan probably threw 5 or 6 perfect games in his career.
Yeah.
But he never made it to the World Series.
Wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
Never made it to the World Series. Never got a championship ring. And if we go back to basketball, think about Karl Malone.
Yeah.
The number 2 scorer all time in NBA history. Okay?
Yeah.
20 years
Wow.
And we know it's your twin, Charles Barkley.
He's not my twin. I wish we were twins on our bank account, Big C, but we got the same hairstylist, okay? Yeah.
You're talking about Kevin Durant leaving OKC,
Yeah.
chasing the ring in Oakland. I think Charles started his career in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
He left Philadelphia with the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Found, he got a chance to play in the finals, but didn't get a ring.
Yeah.
Left Phoenix, went to Houston after they'd won a couple titles. Didn't get a ring.
Yep.
So when I got a hypocrite like Charles Barkley talking about Kevin Durant, talking about how he left the city and left the team in search of selfishness.
Yeah.
Charles, you're in front of the line, Charles. You've done it a couple times. You're an outstanding broadcaster, but you're also hypocritical.
Yeah.
Because you left two organizations going to chase a ring.
Yeah.
Because that's how important it is, Charles, to have that ring. You're not finished with your professional career until you have a ring. Unfortunately and fortunately, Charles.
Yeah.
There are so many players out there with championship rings that no one knows who they are.
Yeah.
Because everyone concentrates on the superstar who is out there.
Yeah.
And they want to know that the superstar got a championship ring. They want to know that Karl Malone, who never got one. You want to look at Charles Barkley, who never got one. There's many players, Charlton, throughout the history of the game. Bob Lanier never got one.
Yeah.
Dominique Wilkins never got one.
Yeah.
And the list goes on and on. I mean, it just resonates with Hall of Famers. If you look at the top 50 NBA players of all time, Charlton,
Yeah.
less than half of them have a championship ring. You think about it, the top 50 players of all time, less than half of them have a
That's
championship
incredible.
ring.
That's incredible.
That's how unique it is to have that and to be able to relish it throughout a lifetime.
And Big C, that's a very good point because there's something about commercials, and we're in the commercial age where everybody wants to have the fast car and they all want to have the big bank account and the good looking women and all that stuff. Like the way you hang out, Big C, the way you party. Okay, so, I don't know what I'm telling you. It's funny how when you have a nice boat and it's actually in the water and not on some blocks in the backyard, a lot of pretty women tend to find you, okay? That's how Big C lives. But the funny thing about that, I thought it was such a classy thing where it just shows it was not complete until Dr. J put on his ring. And he put on his championship ring. And what I saw over this game in Oakland, being there at the Coliseum, just an amazing atmosphere. And I still relish the fact that they only have 2 more seasons to tip off before they move back over to San Francisco. But I look at the way we talk about the best player in the universe, not just the best player in the world, but if there's a better player in the universe, someone's got to draft him because the way, I know LeBron James is still the guy. But from what I saw, Big C, Kevin Durant's playing with that fire. You know that fire in your gut when you see something that's right there in front of you? Like when you see that boar and they don't see you coming, so you're right there, you look at that boar? He's looking at the championship ring that Dr. J has, and Kevin Durant, when they win this championship, if Las Vegas doesn't bother anything, then he needs to have the same kind of commercial where he can put that ring on his finger the same way Dr. J did. Big C, your thoughts? Yeah.
His lineage speaks for itself.
Oh, yeah.
But we talked about it before the series started. It wasn't about what he was going to be doing offensively. It was about what he was going to have to do defensively.
He had 5 blocks. He had 5 blocks in game 1.
Okay, but my point is what he has to do defensively, Jonathan, is look at who he has to cover.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
He is never in a championship series before. And even when he was in Miami, they played OKC.
Yeah.
He was not charged with guarding Kevin Durant, okay?
No.
But now he has to play Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
And in this sequence of having to play Kevin Durant defensively, that expends more energy than what he has to expend offensively. And when people saw him sitting on the bench a couple times last night, he was gassed.
Oh, yeah.
He was gassed in having to guard Kevin Durant. And you've seen a couple sequences on fast breaks when he was confused,
Yeah.
not knowing who to take. Do I take the three-point shooter, or do I take the guy that's about ready to go down and posterize?
Yeah, and that's...
So he let the posterization go. And I'm
Yeah.
I mean, people are elated.
Oh, he's amazing. He's amazing.
But you know, the thing from an athletic perspective here, Charlton, is that he's playing that he has to do things, okay?
Yeah.
That's his mindset, that he has to be the guy.
Yeah.
You know, and he gets tired of things. So when he didn't take any shots because he was burnt out.
Yeah.
Okay, but when you look at Kevin Durant play, you look at Steph Curry play, they're having fun.
Yo, yeah.
There is no intensity on either one of them's face. That's the thing about a relaxed athlete. And people who haven't played the game and been competitive, Charlton.
Yeah.
And I don't care what professional sport it is, it's all the same.
Yeah.
A relaxed athlete. I remember back when Wayne Gretzky used to play hockey. Wayne always played with a smile on his face, having fun.
Yeah.
But when it came time to be intense, Wayne was intense, and he got the job done. And that's what I'm seeing. I've always seen it with Steph Curry. Last year, Steph Curry was a little beat up going into the championship series.
Yeah.
Right now, Steph Curry is healthy.
Yeah.
I saw a sequence where Steph Curry broke down LeBron James, had him stumbling just like he's made many other people stumble
Yeah.
throughout his career. And people say, well, he double dribble. Well, LeBron takes 4 and 5 steps.
LeBron plays football.
And not only that, he'll hit you in the throat with a
Yeah. Yeah.
and doesn't get a call. So,
Yeah.
turnabout fair play. You cannot get on Steph Curry for embarrassing LeBron James because he does it to everybody.
Yeah.
Just because you're the king doesn't mean you can't stumble, Joe.
And that's something that you know, people talk about the way Curry dribbles. And you talk about being relaxed. I'm an uptight person. You're a little bit more relaxed. I'm starting to understand why that moonshine is. Yeah, they tell you, Billy D told us, don't let the smooth taste fool you. That wasn't Colt 45 that Billy J was drinking, DC. I'm sure that was some of the shine stuff in that glass. But when I look at how linky Durant is, you know, he's only 2 inches shorter than Kareem. When people think about how great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is at 7'2", well, Durant's 7 feet tall. Some people say 6'11", so give or take an inch. But can you imagine at that size, he has the skills of a point guard. Like, he dribbles like Curry at times, but he has this sky hook difference in his shot that Kareem had. He doesn't shoot the sky hook, but when he shoots his basket, his hands are so high in the air, it's almost impossible, like Kareem, it's almost impossible to block his shot, and he can bring it down and put it on the floor and go by you, Big C. Who does he remind you of? We talked about Dr. J. Dr. J didn't have Kevin Durant's size, but Durant never had the supporting cast to make Steph Curry the 2-time defending MVP of the league, the second best player over the Golden State Warriors. Big C, your thoughts? Yeah.
In the playoffs. And Durant hasn't done that. So when you think about that, and that feat has not been done since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Lou Alcindor, and
Yeah.
Walt Frazier did it back in the 70s, early 70s. That's the
Wow.
last time it was ever done in the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
So but when you talk about who Kevin Durant reminds me of, Charlton, and most people are not going to think about this guy, but it's the Iceman.
Oh, yeah.
Gervin.
Yeah.
George Gervin was a 6'7", 2 player, 2 guard. You know, in the NBA with the San Antonio Spurs, the Iceman was a 3-time scoring champ.
Yeah.
And the Iceman played when the average guard was 6'1", 6'2", maybe 6'3" in the NBA. So he had that height advantage as Kevin Durant does in playing the power forward.
Yeah.
But his shot was so unique and uncanny, and he played when there was no 3-point shot. So
Yeah.
he's leading the NBA in scoring at 33 and 34 points a game for an entire season.
Wow.
If the 3-point shot had been in, you could have added another 10 points to the scoring title.
Yeah.
But people talk about how smooth a shooter that Steph Curry is.
Yeah.
George Gervin was a combination of Steph Curry and Kevin Durant all in one.
Yeah.
Because he had those unique moves. He was tall and slender. And that's why everybody called him the Iceman.
Yeah.
Because he had no emotion, just like you see right now with Steph Curry and Kevin Durant, and even Draymond Green has calmed down. People look at, Klay Thompson, he seems like he's on sedatives half the time. he found his shot. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody in Golden State has stepped up. But when you talk about the great shooters,
Yeah.
and you look at Steph Curry and you look at Kevin Durant, people of today are not back in the day, as you would reiterate many times, Charles.
Yeah.
Going back to the Iceman, George Gervin in San Antonio. ABA refugee.
Yeah.
Came to San Antonio with the merger, along with Dr. J. Came into the league at the same time. Dr. J got all the fanfare because he was in New York with the Nets. San Antonio, we know where it is, and still today does not resonate on the NBA.
No.
We had 5 championships.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
But,
That's.
this is a player chalk. If people want to go back and look at the annals of the NBA in the late 70s, early 80s,
Yeah.
see the Iceman, George Gervin, you will see remnants of Steph Curry. You will see remnants of Kevin Durant. And just this smooth player. He was like a tall glass of ice water, Charles.
Yeah.
He just flowed. And that's why they call him the Iceman, because he had Cheeto, he had that Cheeto blood in his vein that nothing bothered him.
Yeah.
And he would raise up on anybody and knock down that 2-point shot because it was a 3. And he was like Steph Curry.
Yeah.
He would fire from 30 feet out. He didn't care.
Yeah. What's up with Curry? I mean, and the thing about Curry, you talk about being relaxed, and we always hear athletes saying about being in the zone, and I guess that's that feeling after you had one glass of moonshine, you start getting in the zone. But they do it while they're playing, Big C, where everything slows down. There was a point in the game where Steph Curry, he got kneed in the hip, and I think it was by that good old boy with the tattoos and the six-pack, J.R. Smith with the six-pack dude, and he got kneed in the hip, so he went to the edge of the sideline and he laid down with a towel over his head. And I was just thinking, that guy's over there being focused. I heard John Wooden used to teach his athletes when Kareem played and the great Bill Walton played, all them good old boys they had back at UCLA. They would actually visualize shooting baskets from their free throw lines with their eyes closed. I don't know if it's true or not, but they would say that they were just as good with their eyes closed as they were with their eyes open because they understood the formula of doing it. So when Steph Curry went out of the game for a short moment, he was on the sideline and he had that towel over his head. When he came back, he was still focused. He was still able to hit baskets that would be probably almost a half-court basket. And sometimes you think he's just showing off, but he's not showing off. He's really that good because that comes from a lot of hard work. And one of the broadcasters said the DNA from his father wasn't that good, though. Big C, your thoughts? Yeah.
It's something that you only get once in a lifetime. He has revolutionized the 3-point shot. Matter of fact, a lot of people think he's damaged the game of basketball.
Oh, no, he made it better.
Because he shoots it so frequently, but he shoots it with such efficiency.
Yeah.
So he hasn't damaged anything. You know, what we're going through right now is an evolution. Sports continuously revolutionizes. Every couple of decades, things change. And
Yeah.
that's the reason why they brought back the 3-point shot.
Yeah.
But it's what I spoke about earlier with the Iceman.
Yeah.
And that's what you're getting remnants of with Steph Curry, is that I'm relaxed.
Yeah.
I'm playing. When you look at Cleveland, you can see the tenseness
Yeah.
on that team offensively when they're down. They're trying to figure out how to manufacture a shot.
Yeah.
Okay, do we clear out and let LeBron play bully ball? And I heard the broadcasters even talking about that last night, LeBron playing bully ball.
Oh, yeah.
It's been well recognized throughout his career.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll go off with 3 every now and then. And last night, he got to the point where he was frustrated and he was trying to match Steph and Kevin with the 3s.
Yeah.
And he threw up 3 in succession, and they were all bricks.
Yeah.
Because he's not a rhythmatic shooter that you get with Kevin and Steph.
Yeah.
He's the guy who has to force his shot periodically, and you know, he does that. And so when he's not playing bully ball where he can get to the rim, you know, then it makes a problem with his outside shot.
Yeah.
And as a team, Golden State Warriors, you want LeBron shooting 3-point shots.
Oh, yeah.
You honestly do, because you know the chances of him making a shot from the 3-point arc versus him being in the paint.
Yeah.
That you will live with that.
Yeah.
Any team will live with LeBron sitting outside trying to shoot the 3-point shot. You got J.R. Smith, who only took 6 shots last
Yeah.
night. You got Kyle Korver, who can't find the rim right now.
No.
Sharpshooters that, you know, you expected to be able to knock down the shots. I'm
Yeah.
not going to say they're going to be that way the entire series, but you think about it. As a team, you score 113 points and you still lose.
You still
by
lose.
19.
Yeah.
That's demoralizing, okay?
Yeah.
113 points and you give up, you lose by 19. So that really causes for adjustments that have to be made. You're not going to slow down this Golden State offense. And everybody was talking about, well, last year, you know, when Golden State had beat Cleveland in the first 2 games,
Yeah.
they beat them by 5
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that only beat them by 41 in the first two games.
Yeah.
That's like saying, well, the girl, she was almost pregnant last time, you know?
I tell you, man. I tell you, Big C, when you look at this issue of LeBron, and I love the way he plays, and it's almost like watching Mike Tyson when he was just in over his head when he fought, Evander Holyfield. He fought a guy that could outbox him. He bought a fighter. Mike Tyson was a fighter. Evander Holyfield knew how to box. So when he got in the ring with a guy who knew all of the angles, all of the boxing styles, then he was in over his head, so he tried to bite his ear off, okay? We know that hurt. He bit his ear twice. But unless somebody's going to bite the ear of Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, I thought this series would go in 6, and something still tells me that we're at least going to get 5 games out of it. I think TV's too smart to have a sweep in the age of television and increasing revenue. Also, Cleveland going back home to get some home cooking. And obviously, it's up to the officials, but if Golden State can come down and run the floor, when even you could take their 12 men, you can sit the first 5 guys and take the other 5, the second 5, and they could probably make the playoffs in the Western Conference. JaVale McGee is such a dominant athlete. I know we talked about it before. His mother played the WNBA, but JaVale McGee to come off the bench to Zaza Pachulia, JaVale's a starter in the NBA, but when you can take that talent and that range, I know he's been a journeyman in the league, but he's found his stride now, Big C. When you can take him and bring him in off the bench, you don't really have a letdown. You have a better center coming in, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, you think about the role players that they possess. Iguodala.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Comes off the bench.
Yeah.
West comes off the bench.
Yeah.
They got a couple of young players that McAdoo that comes off the
Oh,
bench.
yeah.
And so that's what Golden State has done. You think about it. You have to practice against the starters every day in Golden State.
Yeah.
And so it makes you better when you understand what you have to work against. When you're working against the best rounded team, starting 5 in the NBA daily. As a backup,
Yeah.
you can't wait to get into the lineup to show what you've done in practice. And that's what you've been getting from Golden State.
Yeah.
When you look at this game, Charlton, last night in totality, and I heard LeBron say, we were more physical in this game than what we were in game 1.
Yeah.
Okay, you were more physical. But you think about it. The telling point last night that people forget, Charlton, Golden State had 20 turnovers. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
20. They had 4 turnovers in game 1. All right? 4. They had 20 last night, and they still won by 19 points.
Yeah.
You think about that. You have 20 turnovers, and you win by 19 points. So if they keep their turnovers out of the double digits, you don't stand a chance playing against this team. Because you think about it. 20 turnovers, and you're shooting 50% from the floor.
Yeah.
So that's another 20 points that you're taking out of the equation,
Yeah.
realistically.
Yeah.
So without those 20 turnovers, and you add 20 points with that, we got a blowout of astronomical numbers.
Yeah.
When you realistically look at it, they just scored 150 points or more last night, Charlton.
Yeah.
Without the 20 turnovers. So don't, when all these analysts are out there talking about, well, they're going back to Cleveland, it's close, they're going to get the home cooking.
Yeah.
Look at what Golden State has not played their best game yet. That's what no one is understanding.
Yeah.
They haven't played their best game. People saying, well, Cleveland's going to play better once they get home. Well, what if Golden State plays better once they get to Cleveland?
Yeah. Hey, I think the best chance for Cleveland is to go down and talk to Nick Saban and find out what kind of Gatorade they gave USC back in the day, Big C, and give that same Gatorade to Golden State. And maybe Steve Kerr, bring your own drink. They got a lot of drink shops in Oakland. You bring your own fluid, your own water. Don't trust that what they call Midwestern hospitality, okay? That's the only chance them good boys have. And Big C, I want to bring up something that I thought was so apparent, because even out here on the West Coast, people talk about coaching, and we bring it up more than anybody. Why is it so difficult for African American men to get jobs in the NBA when about 80% of the players are African American? And this thing with Mike Brown leading Golden State, they haven't lost a game under his tutelage, Big C, since Kerr sat down. I think they're 29-1 in their last 30 games. Now, Kerr coming back, it is his team. He's been at the helm for the last 3 years, and he deserves to be there. But I want to ask you something that I saw so apparent last night in the world of ego and everybody about me. Mike Brown was saying, I'm part of this team. I'm going to do whatever it takes to help this team win. If it's time to sit down, I'll sit down. If it's time to stand up, I'll stand up. I see the same thing as Steph Curry. When they bring in a guy like Kevin Durant, and there's no ego. There's no ego. Could you imagine Kevin Durant going to L.A.? And I'm hearing one of the only reasons he didn't go to L.A. back in the day is because Kobe's ego. Could you imagine if Steph Curry had the same kind of ego that Kobe Bryant? There'd be no Kevin Durant. There'd be no Kevin Durant because they would say, hey, I'm the team guy. It's either me or nobody. It's because of their ownership, their leadership, being willing to let new guys come in and be the star guy, if that makes any sense. That's why they're so successful. Your thoughts? Yeah.
Where they've eclipsed at least 53 victories over the last 4 years, all right? And
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
Okay? When you look at the players that they put together, and they basically put this team together through the draft.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's been a speckle of free agency here and there. But this team understood, and before Kevin Durant came in, Kevin Durant met with the players.
Yeah.
Not management, he met with
The players. Yeah.
And so he was embraced by the players. And once he was embraced by the players, it made it very easy for him to time go with it because he could have gone anywhere. There were many organizations around the NBA that he could have gone to. He could have gone to Cleveland.
Yeah. Yeah.
He could have.
Yeah.
But he understood in coming to Golden State and playing against them so frequently throughout his career in the Western Conference, Charlton, he knew the chemistry and camaraderie that was there with those players.
Yeah.
And he knew that egos didn't exist because he could sit there and watch Klay Thompson score 40 points in a night and see, Curry only scored 22.
Yeah.
And there was not a problem.
No problem.
He get 32, and Thompson and Curry in the mid-20s.
Yeah.
He saw the evolving of the organization. And it was not about that I'm the guy that has to take the last shot.
Yeah.
This was a team, an organization of unity.
Yeah.
That they had a commonality and a common goal in Golden State is that we play together as a unit.
Yeah.
And you can see that in the first 2 games and really in the last 16 games with Golden State.
Yeah. That's definitely.
Because you haven't had the same leading scorer every night, Charlton.
Yeah.
You have not.
No.
And Draymond Green, when we saw him get the quadruple single,
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago, he wasn't crying because he contributed to what the team needed.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
And, I heard a reporter ask Draymond the most stupid of questions, and the guy was from the San Jose Mercury.
Uh-huh.
The guy said, how are you able to control your emotions and not get a technical foul?
Yeah.
And it was like, and to ask a player, how can you control your emotions and not get a technical foul? That comes down to the referee.
Yeah. Yes, it's the referee.
It's been a long time since I've seen a player call a technical foul
On himself. Yeah, that's funny.
I'm still trying to figure out where the question came from.
Hey, I tell you.
You call a technical foul on yourself, but it comes down to the officials. And when you look at and actually he did have a technical, it was a double technical.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was on David West. It was on David West. But when you look at that scenario, the officials understood how they screwed up last year.
Oh, yeah.
May not be the same officials this year, but you call a technical on Green when he made no contact, and it was LeBron who initiated it and walked away scathe-free.
Yeah.
He should have got the same penalty that Green had got, but then all of a sudden the NBA is like, we're taking this superstar out. Cleveland doesn't stand a chance.
Yeah.
And we can discard the lead.
Yeah.
So they didn't.
I-
They took Green out for the hand, but the thing that I like is that the officials will let him play.
Yeah, they're letting them play now.
We've had a couple of mystery calls.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they've let them play.
Well-
And they don't call the traveling. They don't call the carrying of the basketball because everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
It's part of the NBA. The NBA has that unwritten rule that regular basketball doesn't have.
Yeah.
NBA uses street rules with the play. Anybody who plays street basketball,
Yeah.
that's NBA rules.
That's it. And nobody ever fouls in street basketball. That's funny. I was here in Oakland. There's a lot of good old boys. They want to go around and play. They all want to wear the Steph Curry jersey, or they want to be Durant or Draymond Green or Iguodala. And none of them boys ever foul, even though you hear the slap, Big C, but it's never a foul. But that's sometimes what we see in the NBA. I do want to say that sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. And for every sports league, you need insurance. You go through athletic and event insurance. You get it through Big C Sports. We go through Ben and Mark. They've been around for half a century. And every time you need to get covered, tweet out to Big C Sports on the iHeart Radio Network. And if you log on to them online, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you for a special discount. Big C, I just want to touch a little bit on some of the other things going on in the world of sports, and I'll get your final thoughts on some things. I know you good old boys down south, a lot of you guys like to drive fast. I heard some good old boys that would take the governor out of their car so they could go faster. I mean, who needs to drive more than 100 miles per hour? But a lot of good old boys, life don't get happy till you drive at 100 miles per hour. And when I think about that, look at the motorsports legends. You look at 7-time champion in Larson. Johnson, not ready to retire, but I think of some of the great drivers over the years that drive over 100 miles per hour. And you look at Richard Petty. I remember watching Richard Petty back in the day as a little boy, and he had 200 wins, ranked the number one driver for wins. You know, David Pearson, 105 wins. Jeff Gordon, everybody thinks of Jeff Gordon as a great driver, but Richard Petty has doubled him up in wins, Big C, at 93. There's Bobby Allison at 84 wins. Darrell Waltrip, 84. Jimmy Johnson at 83. Also, Cale Yarborough. If you think about back in the day when them good old boys, when they really used moonshine on the side, when they came in for that pit stop, Johnson, how does he set in the eyes of the old-time guys? We talked about Dr. J putting that ring on. I still think of the great drivers being Richard Petty, but all the new guys get the attention now. Down south, Big C, does Johnson have the same kind of respect that a guy like Richard Petty has, Big C? Your thoughts?
When you talk about legends, Petty comes out in every breath.
Yeah.
He's that guy who's one of the originators and the iconic figures of the sport.
Yeah.
Well, when you look at all these new guys, Jimmy Johnson's been a great driver over his career. I mean, very aggressive.
Yeah.
When you think about the runs that these guys have now, but there's really not that dominant driver, I think.
No.
You talked about Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon had his run for about 5 years where he basically dominated the sport. When
Yeah.
you look at Dale Jr., who's more of an iconic figure than he has been a dominant driver, because of the legacy of his dad.
Oh, yeah.
But right now, there's so many young guns out there on the racetrack, Charlton. It's like golf. You're searching for a true spokesperson of the game,
Yeah.
of the racing game, Charlton.
Yeah.
When you look around that oval track, I mean, it's anybody's race from week to week. We don't have the dominant, intimidating drivers that we had a couple decades ago.
No.
It has changed vastly over the years. I don't know if it's become more of a gentleman's race, because back in the day, there was a lot of paint scraping.
Yeah.
I mean, if you came out of a race with a clean car, you were always in the back.
Think about hanging out at your house. You come out with a clean car. You don't even let guys get in until they got a clean car, Big C.
When you think about those iconic races that they had for decades, Charlton, on those big oval tracks, and these drivers that were very aggressive, I mean, that was the name of the race.
Yeah.
They've scaled back over the past couple of years. You talked about the governors that they put in, the flow on the carburetors to limit the horsepower and to cut down on the speed. Because these cars now, Charlton, are just projectiles, running over 200 miles an hour on those straightaways. I mean, that's a mind-blowing speed when you get a car that you can see on the freeway, that same size vehicle, on an oval track doing over 200 miles an hour. But we're talking about also, Charlton, some of the greatest drivers in the world as far as safety and knowledge-wise when they're on the track. I mean, you could not ask a pedestrian on the street to go out on a NASCAR track and expect them to be able to handle one of those vehicles.
Oh, no.
It's running at 1,500 horsepower.
No.
225 miles an hour around an oval track, and when you're going into a turn, Charlton,
Yeah.
you're doing 175, 185, 180 miles an hour going through a bank.
Yeah.
And we can't get people to do that down the straightaway. They're banking side by side, bumper to bumper, going up and down the track like that, Charlton. So I've always admired the good old boys in NASCAR for the ingenuity. And, we talk about ingenuity and we talk about the drivers, but I want to go back to the most important people, Charlton, are the engineers and safety people that are involved in racing. Over the years, they have saved countless lives in the racing industry with the safety precautions that they put in for their drivers.
Yeah.
I mean, you can never look at going into a race without having the engineers and safety men around the track to protect the drivers. They do a marvelous job. They never get recognition, and they're not there for the recognition. But they are there for a purpose. They're like paramedics. We don't know anything about paramedics, the layman person up and down the street, but they're responsible for saving
lives.
American lives every day.
Yeah.
They never get praise. They never get credit. They never walk around saying, hey, pat me on the back. This is what I do. This is my profession. This is what I'm sworn to.
Yeah.
Those paramedics racetracks, whether it's Indy, whether it's NASCAR, whether it's NHR racing, Charlton.
Yeah.
They're some of the most wonderful and respectable people in the world.
Well, just congratulations again, Jimmy Johnson on Sunday. He enjoyed another victory. That made him 6th on the Cup career list. So great job to the good old boys. I also want to apologize to you because, you know, when I met up with you back over the last time I was down south, Big C, you were driving that Escalade and we went to park at some barbecue shop and you were parking without your hands on the steering wheel. I thought you were just being a show off. I didn't know those cars parked themselves, so I do want to apologize, Big C. I didn't mean to tell you put your hand. It was your car, so of course you know how to drive it. But I didn't know Cadillacs can park themselves too. That's part of being the standard of the world. But I want to also touch on, you know, we talk about things that are strong and back in the day, and we talk about the great NBA finals going on here in Northern California. That's going back to Cleveland with them good old boys. I'm sure they're cooking up some good brew for that game. Pujols, 600 home runs. He's just getting started. Even though he has 600 home runs out there in Anaheim, I still don't think he strikes fear in the heart of people the way Barry Bonds did. Even when you think of Mark McGwire when they came to the plate, and I'm talking Barry Bonds when he batted at San Francisco, not when he played at Pittsburgh. Even Jose Canseco. I remember back in the day, a little boy, when Reggie Jackson would come up to bat, and when he played for the A's and also the Yankees, that was called must-see TV. You think Pujols, and they have that good old boy with the beard from Washington that they're trying to give $400 million to. I don't think Harper strikes the fear in a batter or in a pitcher or even Pujols the way the great players did back in the day. But these guys make a lot more money. Does that make any sense, Big C, or is it just not fair comparison?
Well, Charlton, you got to look how dominant a player Pujols was when he was in St. Louis playing under Tommy Lasorda.
Yeah, La Russa. Tony La Russa.
Tony La Russa.
Yeah.
Albert Pujols has always been one of the best hitters in baseball.
Yeah.
When he was with the Cardinals, helped them win a World Series back there in St. Louis. You know, he's gone to Anaheim. You think about being in Anaheim. He's playing with the best player in baseball, is Mike Trout, who is now on the injury list with a thumb injury. And, you know, to hit 600 home runs, the most ever hit by any player from the Latin countries, Charles.
Yeah.
He's passed up Sandy Sosa.
Yeah.
And you think about it, he's 4 years away from 700 because throughout his career he's averaged plus 25 home runs a year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's 4 years away from being 700 home
Wow.
runs. Third man in history to get to that feat by staying healthy.
Yeah.
So he has dominated the game. I think he's brought fear to a lot of pitchers.
Yeah.
Because he just doesn't hit home runs. He can crush the
Oh, he can crush the bat. Yeah, he can crush the ball.
He's never been in a major market. Now, we think about Barry Bonds when he started his career in Pittsburgh. He was always hitting 30 home runs a year.
Yeah.
But not until he came to San Francisco did he become this larger-than-life figure that struck fear in everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, because he was a 40-40 man before people even realized what that was all about. And only he and Jose Canseco that I can remember have been 40-40 men, Charles. Maybe Frank Robinson may have done it also.
Yeah.
But in the modern era, those are the only two that have been 40-40. And Barry Bonds, you know, he played in San Francisco, but while he was in Pittsburgh, no one realized how dominant he was, just like when Alex Rodriguez was in Seattle.
Yeah.
Hitting home runs. He was not in a major market. That's what it's come down to as far as fear and dominance. You think about to get to 600 home runs in your career. That's a benchmark.
Yeah.
That's Hall of Fame numbers. But to be 4 years away from getting to 700, and Albert is not an old man who possesses still a lot of power.
Yeah.
And playing in the major leagues, you know, if he's not on first base, he can also pitch hit.
Yeah.
I mean, not pitch hit, but he can be the DH.
Yeah.
So he strikes a lot of fear. And when you have Mike Trout behind you in the lineup, batting, that gives you a lot more at-bats because they just don't want to walk you and put you on base in front of Trout.
Yeah.
Because that will generate a run.
Yeah.
But, you know, I really praise Albert Pujols for getting to the 600 and having an opportunity, like I said, 4 years from now to cresting into that 700 club.
Yeah.
You know, and there's only one player that can threaten Barry Bonds, and that's Albert Pujols. If he stays healthy, Dalton, and he plays another 7 years in the major leagues, which we know that baseball you can play until you're 40.
Yeah. Yeah.
He could surpass Barry Bonds, ironically.
Isn't that something?
And no one ever thought that Barry Bonds had numbers that could be reached.
Yeah.
But Albert Pujols, if he could play 7 more years in the major leagues, and average the home runs that he's been averaged, he could challenge Barry Bonds, ironically.
And that's amazing that you say that, Big C, because he's in Anaheim, which is still Los Angeles, but it's not really Los Angeles. It's down there with Disneyland. It was the happiest place on earth. But you still think that that's Dodger territory, so no matter what he does, it's kind of like the Clippers. It goes under the radar. I just want to run down a couple of the divisions in the American League. We just talked about Anaheim and where they stand, so hopefully they can make a push toward the playoffs. In the West, you have Houston at 41-16, followed by Anaheim, but they're 13.5 games out, Big C. In the Central, you have Minnesota at 29-24. Cleveland is 29-26, 1 game out. In the East, you have New York. They're 32-22, and they're followed by Boston, just 2 games out, Big C. So that's some action going on in the American League. In the National League, you have Washington. We talked about Bryce Harper and how they're talking about $400 million. If he gets $400 million, give everybody at least $300 million, because I don't see where he's worth $400 million. Not standing at the same batter's box that I used to watch the great Barry Bonds stand in, Big C. I just don't see the same kind of athlete. But Washington, 35-20, they're in first place in the East. Atlanta, with their brand new ballpark down south, they're 10.5 games out. They're in second place in the East. In the Central, Milwaukee's 30-27. Chicago, they're 27-27, 1.5 games out. And in the West, we just talked about it. In the National League, now you have Colorado of all teams, 36-23, and they're a half game up on the Dodgers at 35-23. Still a great baseball, should be played down at Chavez Ravine. And you have the Nationals taking on the Dodgers. That game's at 10 o'clock tonight on the West Coast, Big C. Actually, on the East Coast. That's an East Coast time, but 7 o'clock on the West Coast. So great baseball players. I wish Pujols all the best. He just came after the era where you had McGuire and Bonds and Sosa and Canseco and all that talk about juicing. Well, who knows if who juiced or not. I mean, a lot of players said they have when they got in front of Congress. But I just didn't even think about 700 home runs. You brought that up. He has a chance to hit over 700 home runs. There's only been 9 players in the history of the league to hit over 600 home runs, Big C. As we close out the show tonight, just want to get your thoughts. Them good old boys down in Nashville. I didn't see so much excitement for the NHL, even out here on the West Coast when Gretzky was doing his thing down in L.A. Them good old boys, they have thousands of people out in the streets, outside of the arena, waiting for this NHL to drop the puck. And Pittsburgh, to me, Pittsburgh has to win this game tonight. I think the Nashville's 8-1 at home in playoff games, Big C. Your thoughts on the matchup tonight? Subban, not only is he a great dresser, he also talks a big game too, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Subban and Sokolov, Jonathan, have done a job in getting Nashville back into the series, Jonathan.
Yeah.
They went home 0-2. It was desperately needed a victory, and they were able to get that win at home. And now they need to keep that momentum going. If Nashville has any hope of winning a Stanley Cup, they can't let Pittsburgh come out and dominate tonight. You know, you look at Sidney Crosby, he's sort of like the LeBron James of the NHL, where, you know, he's going to get the call.
Yeah.
He's the guy that's a lot expected of him offensively. Basically, they say he's the face of the league.
Yeah.
Even though he's a little soft from time to time, he's suffered a lot of concussions.
Yeah.
Nashville has to get physical with him, just like Golden State did last night with LeBron.
Yeah.
You get physical with the guy. He just don't get the easy shots. You know he's gonna get the shots on goal, but you got to put him down up against the wall a few times, Jonathan.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do against Crosby. And you have to stay aggressive with the skate. You got to keep the puck in the zone if you're Nashville.
Yeah.
You can't allow these free runs that Pittsburgh had and these unnecessary penalties that Nashville gave up when they were playing in Pittsburgh. You gave Pittsburgh too many power plays, and with those power plays in the Stanley Cup playoff, Jonathan, you're not going to be able to ward them off all the time. Even though Nashville has some great defensemen, they need to stay out of this power play with these stupid penalties.
Oh, yeah.
A man off the ice, Jonathan.
Yeah, that's true, obviously. So hopefully we'll see. I like seeing games go to 7, except for the NBA. I think Golden State's going to win that. I was saying 6. I'm still going to say 6, but my mind is telling me 5. But my friends down in Las Vegas, they keep saying, Curry, just say 6. Just say 6. That table's still waiting for you. But I've learned my lesson. I don't want to bet any more or less. It's a lotto ticket, Big C. Them good old boys, when they come to collect, they bring like 7 guys. Like, why you need 7 guys to show up and collect some money? But I understand the pressure that Charles Barkley's under. That's why he's probably eating too much food, Big C. So you got to leave those boys in Las Vegas alone. And as we go around the world of sports, Big C, I just want to get your thoughts on some things. We talked about the NBA. I love the competition I've seen in this finals. I know some people are saying the NBA is down because you have two dominant teams. I disagree. The attendance has been up. They set a record, over 22 million people bought seats this year. I think this is one of the higher rated finals. Just the build up and the athletes. Big C, look at all of the future Hall of Famers that we are privy to watch on the basketball court right now. We pay homage to Dr. J. We pay homage to the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. We just talked about, Iceman. We talked about all those great guys. Look at the future Hall of Famers that are playing in this day, Big C, and give me your thoughts on that.
We're talking to potentially have 4 future Hall of Famers playing in this championship series, and when you think about how basketball is nowadays, this is a game of rhythm.
Yeah.
And Golden State is in a rhythm. Cleveland is still trying to find this. But like I said, everybody said once Cleveland was home, they'll play better. And you think about how bad Golden State has played at home. Last night, there was only a 3-point differential at halftime.
Yeah, halftime.
Okay? And when you look at game 1, they had 2 40-point quarters, the first quarter and the third quarter. So they've had inconsistency throughout.
Yeah.
And you look around and you see players that can get their shot off. Kyrie Irving is one of the greatest finishers we've ever seen around the rim for a guard. I mean, he can simply get into the paint,
Yeah.
makes things happen.
Yeah.
We know what LeBron can do. He can throw up a shot anytime he feels like it.
Yeah.
Whether it's inside, outside. But the uncanniness of Steph Curry to be such a rhythmatic shooter, and Kevin Durant, who can get his shot off from anywhere. Inside, outside, and being so long, that's what makes the difference with Kevin Durant. He's so long. And, they've always talked about length in basketball.
Yeah.
And you spoke about him raising up to take his dump shot. It's almost indefensible because of his release point.
Yeah.
His dump shot is being released at 10 feet.
Yeah.
So you're reaching up trying to block this thing, so you got to get above the rim to even block his shot. And we've seen him, and your buddy Charles Barkley talked about a jump shooting team can never win a championship. Well, Golden State did it a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
They're doing it now, but they brought an inside game to go along with that, Charlton. When you count the dunks that Golden State has had in the first 2 games, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
They play inside as well as they play outside. So you got to find an answer. You got to play a perfect game right now to beat Golden State, Charlton.
Yeah, and that's very true, Big C. So as we get you to close out on your thoughts, I do want to congratulate Oklahoma and also Florida softball. They'll be playing for the College World Series in softball. In fact, those teams have combined to win the past 4 national titles, and they're meeting each other for the first time. So congratulations to Florida that knocked off Washington, and also Oklahoma that knocked off Oregon out of the Pac-12. So congratulations to the girls. And also, I know the men's are still playing, Big C. But as we close out, I want to get your thoughts on what you're looking forward to going into this big week, Big C. Your thoughts.
Well, we're talking to everybody's looking forward to Game 3 moving to Cleveland. That's what everybody's excited about. This is a make-or-break game for Cleveland. They cannot go down 0-3. Because if they go down 0-3, emotionally, they're going to give up.
Yeah.
You're going against this great firepower that you have in, Oakland.
Yeah.
This is something that's very difficult to come back from. And, in tonight's NHL game, we're looking at, Pittsburgh being in Nashville.
Yeah.
Trying to stave off this momentum from the Predators because they don't want this series tied up 2-2.
Yeah.
Because if they let it get tied up 2-2, Charlton, they've given away all the momentum. Now this series is dead even.
Yeah.
And going back to the NBA, right now, Cleveland has to win 4 out of 5 to win the championship.
Not going to happen.
That's what people are not understanding. You got to win 4 out of 5. People can say, well, they did it last year. This is not last year.
Yeah.
There was no Kevin Durant around last year.
Yeah.
There was not where you could beat up Steph Curry and eliminate a score.
Yeah.
Right? That's not going to happen. And I tell you one point that I'll take from Game 2, Charles.
Yeah.
And we'll go back to last year. I remember when LeBron James blocked Steph Curry's shot.
Yeah.
Under the rim.
Yeah.
And he stood there and yelled at Steph Curry and gloated and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And played the big man on the series. And LeBron's 6'8", Steph 6'3", so he should block that shot.
Yeah.
But when Steph Curry broke down LeBron James last night, he looked like a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
just turned around and went on back to the other end.
Yeah.
This is what I do.
Yeah.
I'm a man of leisure shooting the basketball.
Yeah.
You gotta work to get yours. It comes to me naturally.
Well, that's so well said, Big C. And as we always say, you know, I learned so much listening to you. You got me going back, pulling up the DVDs of Iceman when he played back in the day. And no matter who you're watching, you can always find out about it every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide on the iHeart Radio Network. When you follow Big C Sports, I want to tell you we're the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. And iHeart Radio is the #1 media outlet in the United States of America. And as we always tell you on every program, there's never any excuse for domestic violence. If you know any woman going through that garbage, just call 911 so she won't have to deal with it on her own. And as we always tell you on every program, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.